if that works. Oh my gosh. Oh, goodness. You have no idea. I started and I was literally saying that I got everything sorted with with the overhead camera and all of that. Oh, goodness. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for your patience as I frantically tried to figure out my sound. All right, one of these weeks, it's all going to come together, right? It's all just going to work perfectly and nothing's going to go wrong. That's what's going to happen next week, I promise. Now that I think I've got everything sorted, except that now I've got my microphone in the way. But I think it's because I was using the microphone to record the what's the word? The voiceover for the video that dropped on Tuesday. And so that was okay. So sometimes it's very specific and it wants you to do exactly, what you had before. And I was messing with some of the settings. So, phew, goodness. Goodness. So how is everyone this morning now that you all can hear me? Good morning. Good morning, Georgette. Good morning, Kathy. Let's see. Good morning, Laura. Good morning, Mary. Good morning, Jane. Good morning, Katie. Did I get everyone? I said good morning to Danelle, but you couldn't hear me. Good morning, Joan. Happy Thursday indeed. All right, so what is everyone working on today? Are you working on Village Quilt or are you working on something else? Let me know. And I'd also love to know if you're just starting with the Village Quilt and that I need to do a full tutorial on that. Kathy says, good morning, quilters. I'm newly subscribed to Tracy's channel and excited to meet you all. Yay, we're excited to meet you too. Janelle's always working and secretly listening. That's what's interesting is that you're working, secretly listening, and doing EPP. Pretty impressive. Talk about multitasking. Oh my goodness. So I will be working on my Village Quilt as best I can this morning. I still am having the problem with my foot pedal. I called my store for my sewing machine. If you were here last week, you might know that my sewing pedal I was getting the little red button, and we discovered that it was when I unplugged the foot pedal, the sewing machine worked with the start stop button. And so I did a little troubleshooting over the phone with my store, and I'm pretty sure it's I did all the things they asked me to do, and so it's the foot pedal. And I unfortunately am going to have to bring the entire thing into the store, and it's 45 minutes away. And so machine, foot pedal, my embroidery unit, absolutely everything. So my goodness. You based your EPP hexes while waiting on hold for calls. Nice. That's a really good thing. I gotta tell you, people, I've had rheumatoid arthritis for several years, and maybe over 10 years, because I didn't come up with my markers weren't correct for rheumatoid arthritis, but I did have one rheumatologist who thought that I've always had rheumatoid arthritis. And so I haven't done hand sewing other than binding in 10 years. And lately, I just want to have a hand project going so that I can keep my hands busy at night. I haven't had that feeling in I don't even know how long. I just want to be doing something at night when I'm too tired to come up to my sewing room. And I find that absolutely crazy to me. So is anyone else working on a project today other than the village quilt? Or if you're just working on the village quilt, let me know too. I'd love to hear what you're working on. And also, I'm going to just finish up cutting one of the pieces, and then I can sort of do my little, can show you what I might pull down a design board. I'm not sure yet. Let's see. So, and I also want to make sure I'm on the live chat. I am. Yay. So, I also wanted to talk a little bit. Oh, nice. Katie says you're getting started on the Coriander Quilt Snoop Block of the Month. That came up in my feed, but I didn't watch the video yet, so I'm intrigued. I can't wait to see what that is. While I'm just prepping, I'm going to sort of talk about the video that dropped on Tuesday. And I don't know if you've watched it. I know Danella's watched it. I know, pretty sure Laura's watched it. I'm trying to remember. There were so many comments. There's already over 50 comments. And I was kind of, I don't know. I loved all of the positive comments about it. So if you haven't watched it yet, I talked about an experience I had with a person who I thought was a friend of mine, and they were incredibly mean at one point about my quilting abilities when I was trying to help them with a project that they had a tight deadline on. And so what was really kind of upsetting to me was the amount of comments that I got where people had similar experiences. Rotten experiences with people who either were teachers or in a guild or at a store where they were just incredibly mean, especially to people who were starting out as a quilter. And while there were a few comments of people who really haven't experienced that, there were so many people who had experienced it that it made me a little sad. And Katie, you made the butter pecan cookies. Oh my gosh, yes. Weren't they so good? How's that for some ADHD? But oh my gosh, yes. Holy cow. I've been wanting to make them ever since. I've only made them the once. And part of the reason why I haven't made them again is because they're so good. Like I couldn't stop eating them. Luckily, they're nice and big cookies, so I would have one and I'd be satisfied for several hours, but I was still eating like 2 cookies a day. And do I really need that many calories? No. But they're so delicious. Oh my gosh. A little bit extra with the steps, but nice. I'm so glad you tried them. Now, hopefully some other people will try them too, because they are so worth it. So worth it. 2 3/4. Okay, I'm measuring. I need it 2 1/4 by, no, 2 inches by 2 3/4. Okay, let's do it that way. So yeah. So other than that, it was, so if you haven't watched the video that dropped this week, I hope that you will, and I hope that you'll read some of the comments, because really what's been nice is that there's been lots of people commenting on other people's comments. And that's probably the first time that that's happened. And it makes me happy, because I feel like we're making such a nice little community here where people are just nice to each other and encouraging, and that makes me happy. So there you go. I'm measuring twice as I cut this. up. Do I have a thing under here again? Yes, I do. Look at me. I keep putting other things underneath my cutting mat, and then I wonder why my cuts are a little strange. What can you do? All right, so I don't know that anyone has said that they want to see the cuts again on Village Quilt, so I might skip that for now and just start working on my project. There we go. Cool, cool, cool. Let's see. Yes. The link for the cookies, Kathy, are in the 10 things that are making me happy this week or cheering me up this week video. So if you, that one was from 2 weeks ago, not this week, but last week. And there's a link in the description for the cookie recipe, and oh my goodness. I told a story that my neighbor brought over a Ziploc bag filled with fresh pecans that had fallen down from her tree because we had a windstorm. And in our neighborhood, we're in this historical district, and there's a lot of old trees, and they have like we have what they call canopy trees, and a lot of them are nut trees. And so, and we have a pecan tree, they have a pecan tree, our pecan tree, and we have a black walnut as well, and they didn't really, like, the pecans weren't good for some reason this year, and so my goodness, it was just such a lovely treat, and I made the cookies and they were fantastic. So okay, let me see, I am gonna read some of the comments. Hello, Lynn. Lynn says, thank you all for the lovely supportive comments on Tuesday. Love to all. Agreed. Danelle said, my aunt told me on my wedding day that she was surprised with how nice I decorated, as she wasn't expecting that. I was like, really? What a backhanded compliment. I just can't. I can't with people. Like, why? Why are we... And do men ever make comments like that? I really hate to be make a sexist reference to this, but I don't remember men being ridiculous like that. Of course, they're ridiculous in their own way. But let's see. Hello, Karina from Southern Ontario. Welcome. And Lynn says, hi, Karina. I'm in snowy, blowy Alberta. Nice. Hello, Lynn. Oh my goodness. Hello, Pickle Pie Designs. That's Lisa, my good friend Lisa. Everyone should go over to Pickle Pie Designs and follow her page. I've known Lisa for, gosh, Lisa, how long have we known each other now? It's got to be since at least maybe 2012 or 2013. So, goodness, that's fantastic. I'm so happy to see you here. All right, so I think what I'm going to be working on, unless anyone, yeah, at least 12 years, Lisa. It might be a little bit longer. Oh, Danelle says, Pickle Pie Designs, I love your name. That's so cute. Yes, and Lisa does. I used to work with Lisa. Oh, I don't have my quilt here. It's downstairs decorating my sofa, but Lisa and I designed a quilt that you make in your embroidery hoop, and that was, gosh, probably 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago that we did that. And so, and we had known each other at least 2 years before that. So yeah, probably around 12 or 13 years we've been friends. And so I wish I had the quilt or one of the smaller versions. I know I've got some of the blocks, but they're across the room. I was cleaning up and putting things away, and I found a whole bunch of little blocks that I had made that were the 4-inch size, and so I was thinking I could make something with them because I think I've got enough. So I was sort of excited about that. All right, so I am going to be, I think, doing some trimming today because I'm just not sure how successful I'm going to be with my sewing machine. So I'm going to be working on that, and we will keep talking. If you have questions or comments, just drop them, and I'm happy to read them out loud, and we can get answers too. Oh my goodness, I forgot. There was someone on like 2 weeks ago, and I came across a video. It was 2 or 3 weeks ago. They were talking about doing a binding, and if you could do like a decorative hand stitch to stitch down the binding. Remember? I know Danelle's was there. I don't know who else was here for that comment. And Marie says, yes, men do make disparaging comments. I wonder if they're like I feel like they're more straightforward and less undermining than women, perhaps. But anyway, yeah, I might make you guys jiggle because I need to move. I have like a smaller mat underneath here that I'm going to use so I can rotate. I probably should just be using my other, I'm going to use my rotating mat because I'm pretty sure it's right here. It is. Yay. I love it when I know where something is as I drop my clips, my Wonder Clips. My Wonder Clips fill. All right. I'm going to use my little rotating mat, and I'm going to cut up my roofs. Sometimes, it's funny because I have this, this is a Sue Daly cutting mat, and I've had it for probably 10 years. I don't use it incredibly frequently, and there's been a few times where I wish that I had like a bigger one, and now I'm like, this is the perfect size. It's so funny when you start to think that maybe you want something bigger and better, and maybe what you already have is just what you need. So I'm afraid that my machine is going to have to go for a spa day, and I really don't want it to. I don't want to be without it. And I do have another machine. My daughter has a Bernina, but I'm kind of afraid because we haven't used it in a bit that I think that one needs to go for a spa day too. Definitely hasn't been for a tune-up in a while, so. I've been neglectful of my sewing machines. Bring my little garbage can a little closer. So I'm trying to remember who Wonder Clip Playground for the Kitties. Yeah, luckily they didn't fall out of the container. Because, goodness, was it possibly you asking about Big Stitch? Yes, I think it was. I cannot remember as I remember thinking about it then. Maybe I mentioned different. I think it was Big Stitch. And so maybe what I saw last night isn't quite right, because I saw someone who made a video, and I didn't have time to watch it at the time. But she made a video on using decorative stitches to machine attach a binding. But I feel like at some point, Laura, it's going to come up in my feed again. Or maybe I'll remember to look when I'm on Instagram. But I do remember someone doing Big Stitch to attach the binding. And yeah, I mean, it was a while ago though, so I'm not exactly sure if it worked. I just got my machine back 3 weeks later. It purrs though. Nice. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. I feel like it's going to be 3 weeks. Or, they're going to have to order a new foot. And I'm hoping that the foot pedal is still under warranty because it's relatively new. Laura says, in regards to your Bernina, would oiling your machine help get it going again? I'm sure that it needs oiling, but I kind of have a feeling there was something not quite right with the tension, if I remember correctly. So I'm just gonna have to get it out and oil it up and see if it's good enough to go. And unfortunately, I really don't know the store well enough. Like, I've literally been there two or three times, and that's it. And I don't know any of the people there. So, because like I said, it's just a little bit away. I mean, I've got probably 4 quilt shops, maybe more, just in my town, and I go 45 minutes away to this other store. And I suppose I could probably bring it to, no, I can't really, can you? I mean, if it's something with the warranty, I feel like I have to go back to the store that I bought it from. I can't go to a different store that sells Brother. All right, let's see. Karina says, I'm working on a scrap buster pattern called Playing Around by Lynn Wilson. I'm going to do it quilt as you go style, and I'm going to make it double-sided. Ooh. Oh, it's Karen A. Okay, Karen A. Sorry, Karen. It's so funny when, like, I see some of the names and I forget who it is. There's someone actually who's in the room where I'm like, I have to remember that it's, it's something with like an initial or the next letter. I want to say one name and it's not quite right. So Karen. They should have cheap rentals. I mean, they really should have cheap rentals when you drop off your machine. When I lived in Illinois, I knew the store well enough and they knew what I did for a living, so they would always give me a loaner. And, I didn't even have to rent it. They would just loan me something because they knew that I was, working in the industry. But no one here really knows that I work in the industry, so... but yeah, I mean, really, that's what they should do. And especially these days, I've been hearing that there's really a shortage of people who repair sewing machines. And so that's why that it's taking so long. Plus, if you remember, during COVID, everybody bought machines. And so there's all these people who now have machines. So, yeah. But I'm with you. They should just have a place where you can, you should have some machines that at least they loan out. I mean, I would imagine that would also sell some sewing machines. Kind of like when you drop your car off at a dealership and they give you a loaner car and then you want the loaner car because it's new. Like that. I feel like that would be a good way to sell new things. So we are having full-blown spring here in North Carolina, and I had a very dear friend, he's the godfather of my youngest, came to visit from Boston, and he was dying from the pollen in North Carolina, and I hadn't even really noticed because I'm always on allergy medicine. I had only just started to notice that the pollen was bad, and I haven't driven my car in probably 2 days, so I'm sure when I get out there it's going to be just coated in pollen. But that's the weather we are having here, and I know that some places aren't quite in spring yet. But so I got upstairs and I was huffing and puffing a little bit, like, uh-oh, this might irritate my lungs a bit. Might need to take a little bit of what's this stuff called? My goodness, I'm having the moment, you guys. I feel like every week there's a moment where I can't remember a word. So funny. Laura says at my one local shop, you can now put your name on a list, and they will call you whenever it's time to let your machine get a spa day. They should all do that. Seriously. Yes, that is a great idea, because why? I mean, especially if it's one thing if your machine is totally not working, like something really is seriously wrong and you shouldn't be working it. But if it just needs a tune-up, I mean, really, there should be a list. You know, that way you're not without. But I kind of think that I just need to go over there. I don't think I'm going to be able to get over there before Saturday, though. I've got way too much work this week. Thursdays are always just an incredibly busy day for me. I need to get my schedule a little bit better. Got a lot of polka dot roofs. A lot of polka dots. Got a bunch of green ones, so hopefully that matches some bases of houses. Laura said I could never understand why my machine is there for weeks on end. Exactly, just sitting there. I mean, I get that they've got a lot of, it's probably just one guy who comes in one day a week. But really, like, give people the option would be so smart. And in my scenario, I don't understand why I need to bring in absolutely everything. So that, I mean, maybe she was talking about that I'm supposed to bring it in for a tune-up. Anyway, I don't feel like I got a good explanation of how the store works when I was there when I bought my machine. And you think you would, but it was New Year's Eve, and everybody wanted to go home. So I don't think I got the best explanation, and I certainly didn't get any lessons on my machine, which is kind of sad to me. Like, I really need to go over and do a lesson with them, because there's a lot of things I don't know about my machine at all. So I kind of need to break down and do that. Lynn says no spraying, but we have horrific forest fires in summer, so snow is still precipitation. Indeed. I lived in Colorado, so I get that. Although in Colorado it was so dry because it's technically a desert there. It's technically a desert, what was it? Technically like a desert tropical climate or something like that. It's really strange, and the snow would evaporate. But still, in some cases, it would at least help with the fires. Lynn says polka dots make me smile. They make me smile too, and that's why I use them. And also gingham also makes me smile, and plaid. Laura says, and I noticed the price of the spa day is now down from like 2 years ago. Really? Oh, I haven't looked into that. What's really funny is I took a webinar. What's her name? Andy. The sewing doc. You could take a class on how to do some basic tune-ups for certain machines. Not all machines, because obviously some of them are like computerized, and you'll actually void your warranty if you go into it. But especially for older machines, it makes sense. And the machine I had before this one was a Viking, and it was one of the newer Vikings. And what she said, and I didn't have it long enough to take it in for a tune-up, but she said that it was at least a $300 tune-up, because it takes 3 hours to get into the machine because of the placement of the computerized components. Can you believe that? So, yeah. So, goodness. And I heard they also said that it was part of that whole COVID, everybody had a sewing machine purchase thing where they sold out all of the sewing machines in the country. And so just more people needing tune-ups. So that's good. I know here it's more reasonable than where I was in Colorado to get a tune-up, which is nice. But it still also depends upon what kind of machine you have. All right, so I've got another one of these kind of asteroidy ones. Some big polka dots, medium polka dots, small polka dots, some little yellow planets, and some little yellow seahorses. And I think I might cut up a few more. I found some orange polka dots in different shades of orange. And so I might do some of those because I think I still need orange. And I might just do all roofs for those, so I'm not worrying about any house parts. Let's see what we got. Oop, I just found another one I need to trim. So hopefully with these I've got some that I can put together because I'm currently at 33 houses, I think. I think I'm at 33 houses, so hopefully I can make a few today. That would be nice. That would make me very happy. So we shall see. Good. I got a little bit of blue, a little bit of pink. Another pink one to cut. And so one of the stories that I got from the video on Tuesday was this woman, believes she's in Ireland, decided to go to a guild that was nearby. She said it was a little bit out of her way, and the first time she went, she didn't have a great experience, and unfortunately she went back the next month. And so she pulled out her fabrics to work on whatever she was working on, and a woman told her, "Oh my God, put that away. You're giving me a headache with those prints." And she was new. She was a new quilter. And she said that she unfortunately went home and she donated it, mailed her fabric to a charity in another country. And then stopped trying to quilt for a little bit, and then eventually she started quilting again. Do you know what the fabrics were? They were Amy Butler fabrics that was giving this woman a headache. And I just was just furious. I mean, it made me just so mad because I thought, just look away. Why do you even have to make a comment? Why do you have to make a comment? You don't. Goodness. Just people are just, ugh. They're insufferable. I might grab a door. Because I do have you know what? I'm going to leave it. Listen to me. I'm trying to decide what to do now. I'm going to see if I've got some houses I can make and go from there. See if I've got some matches. I think I might. And I'm going to leave these. I cut out another cute little plaid house. So that'll be the side of the house with polka dots as the roof. But I still need a transom above the door. And possibly maybe a different door, because I don't always like it when I put the same color as the roof as the door. So I need to find some different colored doors. It'd be nice to have like a teal door. So I might work on that one. Lynn says, cute roofs, I've got spots in front of my eyes. Yes. And I think pretty sure I've used up all of my gingham, so because I tend to like to use gingham for the roofs too. I've got a bunch of yellow, my goodness. But I mean, if you're not going to have fun picking out the fabrics, then I mean, at least that's what I do. I like crazy looking things. All right, let's see. Not bad. And with the polka dots, I mean, literally, I have to pick like the right scale to go with the whatever the house is. It might work. It's not quite the right color green though, but it might work. This one needs pink. That works. Plaid and dots. Yeah, exactly. I love it. A little wacky, just like me. It's not terrible. There's too much yellow. All right, we'll put that one aside. Ooh, that one's pretty. I like this one. Little seahorses on the side. Just really pretty. I don't know that the color's coming out right, but yellow wouldn't be bad. Oh, that one has octopuses. Octopi? Is it octopi or octopuses? All right, Lynn says, Tracy, do you pin? I think that's why I'm slower. Also, I don't think your designs are crazy. They're fun. It depends on what I'm sewing. For this, these blocks are so small that I don't usually pin. So I'm not really worried about that. I just kind of, I hold the fabric together, I take a few stitches, and then I hold it with my hands as it goes through. So that's what I do. I know, I love that with the seahorses too. Yes, that one is an old, it's gonna be a day like this. Heather Ross. It's an old Heather Ross print. So I've got so this is what I was contemplating. I was like, all right, well, I've got this as an option with more seahorses, but I don't know that I want more seahorses. So trying to decide what would look nice. You know, I could do maybe this, but I feel like it's too much orange. Like there's a little bit of fuchsia right in the flowers, right there. And so a fuchsia one might be nice, but I don't know. I don't think I've got the right one. So I might put that one aside and just wait until I find something nice to go with it. Oh my goodness, I just found a... See, now I need the big polka dots. Might need the big polka dot one. Yep. That's what it's gonna be. Nope. That's not bad. So I'll be able to stitch a few houses today, I think. Works. Yeah, fuchsia. Definitely I need to dig into my bin and pull out some more fabrics for roofs and doors. But I'm still just trying to get through this little pile here and see if I can make something work with those. You know what, that's not bad. I'm just not gonna stress. I'm not gonna stress about it today. It's just gonna be, today is gonna be what it is. Oh, my leg is falling asleep on this chair. I was so bummed. We were also talking, oh, I could also add a blue roof. That's true. I always feel like blue is kind of a neutral. You can't go wrong with the blue. Because I just think everything goes with jeans, you know? So that's my thought process there. I could, I'm gonna see if I can switch over. Let's see if I can switch over. I'm gonna see if I can switch over easily and show you what I'm doing. You're gonna see my little messy sewing station though today. Let's see. It doesn't want to stay up. Let's see if I can get it to go. Can you hear me now? Yes. Yes? For some reason my... Oh, I know it disappeared. My microphone little thing disappeared. So make sure that, tell me that you can still hear me if someone's... I was about to say yes, I did look at saddle chairs. Let's see, can I get it to transition? Oh, good. Okay, good. Oh, there, the thing that disappeared came back. It just went away briefly. Let's see if I can get this to... Aha. Aha, there we go. Can you see my sewing machine now? Sweet. So Lynn, the funny thing is that I happened to see a saddle chair on Facebook Marketplace. And so I reached out to the guy to see if it was tall enough, but he didn't respond. And so I'm just going to keep looking. They seem to have some there, and I feel like that would be a great place because then that's not so, you know, much of an investment. I'm going to just trim the top of this one. This one's a little bit uneven, top. Okay. All right, so what I usually do is I lay it here, get the tip lined up, and then I take a few stitches. I'm getting the hang of the push button thing. So I take a few stitches and then I literally just pinch it over here, and I use this hand to sort of, I'll show you as I go. All right, I'm going to make sure it goes nice and slow because I'm just going to be doing multiple things. So I kind of pull here to make sure that it stays lined up. And then I usually pinch over here or just hold it with my finger until it goes through. And that's why I don't pin. And that's what I do. And it usually works pretty well. So there you go. I'm going to switch back. There we go. So how's that? That kind of tells you how I do it. The trickiest part, I think, is like the pressing with this one. Part of me is starting to think that it would be better if I pressed open, but I generally don't. So there you go. It's my cute little house. Good. Good. Yeah, you know, it's funny. I'm sort of a pinner. You know, I pin when something's really tricky or I really need to meet up a specific seam. But otherwise, I'm pretty, I don't know, it depends on my mood. And I use clips or I use pins. Oh, for those of you who've been following the kitten thing with the pins, he stopped going after the pins, luckily. So So I've been able to have like my favorite little pin cushion that I've had for years on my table, and he's left it alone. And so I've been able to actually use pins, which is nice. Although it's funny. I'm still trying to use the foot pedal, guys. I should just move the foot pedal away so that I can't actually touch it. But yeah, do you have favorite pins? I definitely have favorite pins, and I have not had them in my little pin cushion because of the cat. And so I'm just curious what everybody likes. Do you use pins? Do you use clips? Karen says, any chance the foot pedal on your other machine would fit on your main machine? Just a test before you take it in, or do you have a sewing buddy with a similar make and model to try the pedal? So somewhere, I am pretty sure I have another pedal, and I looked over the weekend. Now I didn't do a thorough search. I literally looked through 2 bins from moving that I hadn't unpacked. Well, actually, I guess I did unpack them, and they weren't in those bins. And so I'm just not sure if I still have that foot pedal or not. I didn't think about trying the other one's a Bernina and this one's a Brother, so I'm just not sure if it would work. But maybe after this I'll check to see if it's got the same sort of prong. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Part of me, the other part of me is like, well, I sew enough that I feel like it should go in for a tune-up anyway. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring it in. I'm going to have to make sure I've got all of my sewing done that I need for the next few weeks, just in case, though. That would be miserable. So, because I've got a few things coming up that I want to sew. I think that one's okay. It's not my absolute favorite, but I thought it would do. So Karen says my favorite pins are Clover 2805. I think that's a number. I didn't even know that Clover pins had a number. They have yellow and blue glass head, super thin. I know the ones you're talking about. I used to have those. And I don't know that I have them anymore. I don't think I've replaced them when they got, sort of bent. I love a super thin pin. And so I have been using Lori Holt pins, and I just really like the little, I'm a sucker for Lori Holt, and I just really like her little containers and things. But these are a little thicker than I like. What I do like about them is that they're a little bit shorter than I'm used to. And I kind of like that they're short. However, I really love the tulip glass head pins. I just love them. I just love tulip pins and needles so much. I just think they're elegant. Snapdragon says, I have a FOF 710 and I think I got interrupted. Snapdragon, I can't see the rest of your statement. Yeah, so I need to give another look and see if I can find that other foot pedal and see if it even works with this machine. It might not. I had a Brother that I actually just sold, and I sold it right before this all happened, so I couldn't even swap those foot pedals because they were similar. I have the foot pedal that's got the 2 pedals, so you can program it to do different things. So let's see. I have a FOF 710 and struggling to find a great thread for it. Any suggestions? Oh goodness. You have a FOF. Have you used Aurifil thread before, Snapdragon? Because I feel like Pfaff and Viking are similar, and I never had a problem with Aurifil thread on my Viking. On my brother, however, my brother does not like Aurifil at all, and it breaks the thread all the time. And so I've been using Quilter Select. Let me see if I've got a spool. I've been using the Quilter Select, and I honestly think this is probably an 80 weight. But I just really like it, so I've been using it for piecing, and I've had no problems with that. But see, I just think brothers like polyester. This is a cotton poly. It is a para cotton poly, is what it says, and I'm pretty sure that this is an 80 weight. Let me pull off. Let me grab another one. So that's what I've been using. Let me see, what else do I like? Surprisingly, a coworker of mine told me about a thread. What is the brand? They got it at Hobby Lobby. Yeah, it's an 80 weight. So these are 80 weights, and I really like those a lot. But you know, I know the folks that make Alex's thread. This is all Quilter Select. And so they sent me a bunch to try, and I absolutely love it. I've loved that for quite a while, and it runs through my machine really well. And, you know, anything by Superior is also great. So, Aurifil is a hard no. It skips stitches. Ugh, yeah, okay. Jackie says, I've been moving to Glide. My machines have been loving it. What kind of machine do you have, Jackie? I haven't tried Glide, but I imagine that it's going to be beautiful. So I've been wanting to get some and try it. Kathy says, some people have had trouble with Aurifil. Some use Superior Metler. Some do need the cotton poly mix. I think, unfortunately, you have to do trial and error. Agreed. You like the Superior, Karen likes the Superior So Fine 50 weight. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I've used Superior. I have not tried on this machine any of the, what did I forget the name? I swear, people, I did take my medicine this morning, and I did remember Wonderfil. It's literally, I've got a giant spool of Wonderfil right here. I have it out because I really like the Wonderfil for quilting, and so I was planning to try. And this is the Fabulux, but I just love that. So I was planning to try some of that with my machine and doing some free motion. So, what else do I like? Yeah, I've used the Deco Bob and the bobbin, and I like that. And I have used some of the Superior, and I love it, but I don't remember what kind I have. Let me see. Let's see. This one is Magnifico, and I literally have it. I always have it nearby because I just think the color is so pretty. I haven't found a single thing to use it on yet, but this was one of the samples they gave. Sometimes they give you samples at like Quilt Market, and they're not like colors that you would normally use. But they gave me that one. Let's see. Oh, my friend Brandy, who's the Quilter on Fire, she swears by Madeira, and she says that she loves it. Like I said, I haven't tried those in the machines, so you kind of have to figure out what your machine likes. I kind of think that the brothers they use a lot of polyester because they're mainly like done for industrial use and for making clothing. So that's one of the things that you have to sort of figure out. And I wish Lori was here because Lori Baker has Pfaffs. She's always sewn on Pfaffs. She used to be a Pfaff educator. Ooh, I could technically text her. Let me see if I can text her and see what she says. Kathy says, yes, Glide works well for some of the nicer sewing machines. Jackie says, I have a Millie long arm and a Brother 1055 10 needle and a Janome M7. I use Glide in all of them. That's fantastic. And Kathy says, I love the variegated thread. Yes, I love it too. All right, there we go. I had to get my phone to stop streaming. I am going to see if I can text Lori Baker and see if she has anything. Any tips on, okay, stop. I still have you on quiet mode, don't I? Goodness. I'm going to say, Lori, I am live and got a question. You know what? Got a question about what thread to use in a FOF sewing machine. Period. It auto-corrected FOF to fluff. Oh, goodness. I mean, I know it's not going to know things like that, but still. Do you have any brand suggestions? Question mark. All right, we'll see what Lori says. Hopefully she's not busy right now. And she can give us an answer. That would be very helpful. Sorry that I'm bumping the table. My knee was in a weird spot. So hopefully soon I will have a new chair for my sewing table. This one is not bad, but it's but it does sort of cut off my nerves, my legs. It makes my legs fall asleep a little bit. So, which is, you know, not great. It's not a good thing to have happen when you're trying to sew for hours, right? Goodness, I watched a sewing tutorial. It was a super cute quilt that the tutorial was about, but the person was using layer cakes and making 8 at a time half square triangles, and when she came back from stitching the lines, it was all puckered, and I just like, girl, you need to bring your machine in and have a tune-up done, because that shouldn't be doing that, or try something, you know, clean out your machine. Oh, I do probably need to clean out my machine though. I got the best tip from Amy Dement the other day. She actually said there was a person who took a bendy straw and a pipe cleaner, like a chenille stem, and there's a way to twist it and stick it into the bendy straw so that you can get into, like, further into your machine. And I need to try it, but I need to find a bendy straw. So, or buy a box of bendy straws. But, like, yeah, that's awesome, because I always can't get in as far as I would like to get. All right, so this is the next one. I did seahorses and bunnies, because that makes perfect sense in the world. Right? The next one's going to be very green. Very, very green. But that's okay, because some people really, really like green. Oh, the other thing that I do sometimes, I think it was Laura who was asking about, or was it Laura or was it Lynn? It was Lynn who wanted to see the way that I don't pin. Is that correct? So one of the other things, since this side has a bunch of seams and this side is relatively smooth, another option is to put the smooth side down and leave the part with all the pieces up so that you can be more careful about the seam slipping. So that is another little tip that I've got. Also, if one is slightly larger than the other, like for example, right now this, let me see if I can actually show you. Hopefully I can. All right, so I mean, they're pretty close. I'm gonna honestly be pulling it a little, and that's not really good because that's biased, but it's slightly larger right here. So since the roof is slightly larger, I would probably put the roof side down, and I would line up where I start perfectly, and then I would hold it perfectly at the other end, and where there's like a little bit of a gap, the feed dog should fix that. So that's another little tip that I have for not using pins. It's just one of those things that I sort of look at and decide And I got a great tip from Jenny Doan. I was watching a Jenny Doan video, and she was halfway through kind of a long seam and realized that it was just sort of pushing one of the pieces of fabric ahead of the other, and she actually stopped, cut her thread, and turned the fabric over and started stitching from the other side, so that it was, if this was the seam, she was stitching towards where she had already sewn. And that was pure magic to me. She got the seam to line up perfectly that way. And so that's another little, just a little small tip that you can sort of keep an eye on what you're sewing, and a little trick for getting it to line up perfectly if you're having any sort of issues with one of the sides being bigger than the other. See, there we go. That worked perfectly. Lori responded. Let's see what Lori has to say. She says, I use just about anything good in my fluffs. So she says she uses Aurifil, Superior, Metler, Madeira, and Quilter Select. So those were all the things that we all said. Wonderful. But if the Aurifil isn't working in your fluff, because this was one of the things that I thought, because my Aurifil kept breaking, and I've never had that issue before, and so I was thinking that perhaps there was something in the mechanism that was actually like catching, like a little burr or something like that. So there you go. Lynn says you need to remember to save the chat. Well, luckily there is a playlist of all of the lives also, so if you ever need to go back and watch something again, there's a playlist. Of course, we don't really have notes about what we discussed there, so yes, try and save the chat. So there's my very green house. I thought that was kind of cute. Oh, and she just sent me a picture of all of her thread. That is Lori Baker's thread wall. Probably not all of the thread she has either. Because Lord knows I've got more thread than that, and that doesn't make any sense. Although she uses a lot of thread. And she says, you're welcome, glad to help anytime. So that was perfect. I love it when Lori's around to help. She's been sewing for so long, it's always helpful to know she's my go-to. I say, oh, Lori, what can I do with this? It's not working. I don't know if you guys, even know who Lori is. She was the editor of Love of Quilting magazine. She works on Quilters newsletter, and she was on the podcast with me. And so she's been sewing I think she's been sewing for more than 50 years. And she makes garments, and she makes quilts. She mainly makes quilts now, but she's made a lot of garments too. All right. Let's see. Kim said, have you tried changing the way the spool sits? If you have it down, change it to sitting up. That's an excellent tip. I have not tried that yet, but I should. I should probably. And also the other thing that you can do is if it's laying down, you can try switching it the other way, because sometimes it's just not the way that it's meant to wind off of the spool. So that's a great tip. Kathy says, I have the Aurifil break with a needle needing replaced or cleaning the lint in the bobbin area. Weird, but true. And that could have been the case. I can't remember what I was trying to sew with the Aurifil, but it kept breaking, and I just gave up and I tried a different thing. I don't think that I stopped and cleaned. I know I changed the needle, and that didn't help. But I don't think I tried cleaning out the bobbin area. Snapdragon says, my Millie loves everything, and maybe I need to go back to repair, as this has only been one problem since then. And there you go. Hello, Sandra. Sandra says, greetings from Nashville. I'm so glad that you made it. No, my pedal issue is not fixed. We're discussing that it's probably going to need to go for a spa day and go have the store check out what the problem is. But the issue is that I've got to bring back absolutely everything, so even my embroidery unit. But I'm certain that it's the foot pedal. So, because I can sew with it without the foot pedal, the machine still works perfectly. But it honestly, it needs to go in for a tune-up anyway. So, you know, I sew enough on it that it just needs to go get a good cleaning. So this is the one I just did. All right, I've got one more prepped, and so I'll probably, after I finish this house, I'll probably sign off. Thank you all for sticking with me through the sound issues at the beginning and helping me to fix that. If you haven't watched Tuesday's video, I hope that you will. It had some really great comments too, so do read the comments and, you know, comment, because I know some of the people shared some really painful stories, and it breaks my heart, you know. And if you can like this, it helps to push it out to more people. So I always appreciate when you like. Gotten a bunch of new subscribers, which has been so nice. Some new people from the UK, which is lovely. And definitely some new people from Canada. And I love it when people are from other places or let me know where they're from. All right, this is my last one for the day. Oh, you're welcome, Lynn. And Sandra says, looking forward to watching the replay later. And Lynn says, thank you for having us in your sewing space today. It always cheers me up, so I'm so grateful that you guys all wanted to do this each week, because it even when I'm dragging, like this morning, and I thought, oh, I'm not feeling so well, maybe I shouldn't do this, you still all cheer me up, and then I forget that I'm feeling, you know, less than perfect. Snapdragon says, I'm so old, I started getting Quilters newsletter when it was pretty much mimeographed. Oh my goodness. I have seen copies of that. So I'm just going to tell a quick story, and then I'm going to count how many blocks I made so I know how many I've done. But when I went to work for F&W and was the editor for Quilt Maker and Quilty when I started, we still had all of the old issues of Quilters newsletter. We had so many things. Like, we had copies of like the checks that they sent to people to pay them for their projects. I could see all of they actually had like tear sheets that were what the design was, that they, you know, for the layout of the magazine and things like that. Plus we had all of the back issues. And so it was just so cool. I mean, I'm going to guess that I probably had a subscription to Quilters newsletter maybe starting in 93 or 94. And so, but it was a magazine by then. And so when I met Lori, it was just like, you got to work on it. Oh my gosh. You know, it killed me when they shuttered it, because it was just such a great magazine. So let's see. Katie says, have a great rest of the day, everyone. Yay. Thank you, Katie. And Snapdragon says, I was an Oracle user for years, so I haven't used a lot of other threads. I getcha. I used Oracle almost exclusively, except for embroidery. Kathy says, have a great day. Nice meeting with you all. Oh, thank you, Kathy. You're so sweet. Oh, Karen says, thanks for adding the date to the live video title. Good. And I don't think I went back to double check. No, I did go back. I'm pretty sure that they're all in order in the playlist. But I don't know if they go in ascending or descending order, but they were all in order at least, so that you can sort of see the date. So I'll keep doing that to make sure that everyone knows which one it is. And I know that helps me too, because if you're scrolling through YouTube and it comes up in your feed, you kind of have to like click to be able to see when the video started or was dropped, or went live. So all right, everyone, I will see you next week. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you all next week. Thanks for joining me today. It makes me so happy to talk to you all. Bye bye.